If you want to have a good life as a man, there's three key categories that you need to focus on that will guarantee that you live a good life. They are health, wealth, and relationships. If you prioritize focusing on improving in these three categories across the board all the time, you're guaranteed to have a good life. So I'm going to be breaking down how to go about this as a man. Say you don't have any success in these, or if you just are looking to improve further, I'm going to be breaking down what you should be prioritizing and how to actually attack each of these categories to have the best possible success and live the best possible life. The first thing that you need to prioritize to live a good life as a man is health. Health is the number one most important thing that you can have. Without it, you have nothing genuinely. So you need to make sure that your health is dialed in. And beyond just being healthy, being lean, and being active and fit so that you can, not have sicknesses and diseases, then you want to prioritize building an aesthetic, attractive body, because this is really where a lot of the life improvements and your life quality is going to go up massively, is when you are extremely attractive. And the number one way to become extremely attractive is by doing that through your body. You can only change so much about your face. And when you actually build a more attractive body, it improves your face as well. But you need to be prioritizing your health and building an attractive body. If you're a young man below the age of 30, this should be the number one thing that if you don't have this dialed in, this should be your number one goal. You should forget about everything else, because I was able to get girls when I was 19 and had no money, and I was just learning social skills because I had a good body. It is the number one thing that's going to set you up for success in all other areas. In business, people are going to give you more opportunities. You're more trustworthy when you take care of yourself. If someone's a fat slob, it shows that they can't even prioritize the one thing that everyone kind of deep down understands is the most important thing you've been given is your health. So if they can't even prioritize that, how can you trust them with your business? But at least if you can prioritize your health, people can see that you have some discipline. They can take you serious. Girls will like you more because you're more attractive. Guys will respect you more. It's overall just the number one thing to prioritize. And usually in the process of building an attractive body, you're also doing a lot for your health. When you have muscle and you're lean, you're most likely going to be in the top 10, 5, 1% of healthy people on the planet. So you're prioritizing your health by building an attractive body. So that would be my number one recommendation for every single young man to guarantee success in life, is to build an attractive body and prioritize their health, eating healthy, doing things like that. So for that reason, I built every single one of you an aesthetic body transformation guide, showing you how you can build an aesthetic, attractive body, giving you all the workouts, the meal plans, everything's included. It's completely for free. It's the first link in the description below. Now, the second thing that you need to prioritize is your finances. If you don't have money in this world, it is very hard to do anything, and the amount of resources that you have dictates your level of freedom. So if you want to be free and you want to live a good life, you need to have some degree of money. You don't need to be a billionaire. I mean, maybe some of you want to be a billionaire, but you don't need to. You just need to have enough to be able to live the life that you want. For some of you, that threshold may be lower. For some of you, it may be much higher. It all depends on what you want out of this life, but no matter what, you need to be able to make money. And I personally believe that working a 9-to-5 is soul crushing. I don't think that that's going to do anyone any good in this life. I don't think that that's going to guarantee your happiness or success. I think that that is just a way to get by. So there's some jobs that allow you to get by better, some that are much worse. But at the end of the day, I believe that you should be trying to forge your own path as a man. And in doing this, that will guarantee success. And if you don't know where to start, if you're like, well, Seb, you're on your entrepreneurial journey, I have no fucking clue how to get started with this. I don't know anything else besides a 9-to-5. I completely understand. And my advice to you would be, start with a sales job. That's what I did. When I had no value to the business world at all, I started with a sales job. I was shit and I got better until I was good at sales and I was good at communication, my articulation skills. Then I was able to start venturing into other things, but it all started with sales, because when you do sales, you're a really key component to a business. And in a lot of sales jobs, you'll actually learn how things work with the business. You'll learn little pieces of the business here and there because you're so essential. They keep you in the loop. They tell you things. You understand how everything runs. And with this, you just gain a lot of wisdom, a lot of just little key components, little pieces to piece together, so that when you want to do your own thing, you at least have some general inclination of how businesses are run and how things work, and you can try on your own. Now, besides that, you do want to in my opinion, go on your own route and start your own thing. So sales is kind of just the way that you can start in this path. But beyond that, I would recommend starting your own business, going down an entrepreneurial route. Sales is the closest thing to that if you're getting started, but then eventually transitioning into doing your own thing, because that's where the real money is made. And even if you don't want to make tons of money, if you just wanted 5K, I mean, most people are ambitious and they want a lot, but even if you just wanted 5K, it's not that difficult to achieve. 5 to 10K a month is extremely realistic. If you put your head down and you created a plan, you could achieve 5 to 10K in the next 12 to 18 months, 100% guaranteed. I've done it between 2 different businesses in the last year and a half now. So with 2 different businesses, I've been able to achieve 5 to 10K per month easily. It's not that difficult. So once you have some basic skill sets, some basic business knowledge, it's not that difficult to achieve a decent income. But that should really be your priority, is trying to obtain freedom. Because if you don't have freedom, you're very limited. And you probably know all the ways it limits you. Most of you, including myself, even at the level of income that I'm at, feel limited. Everyone feels limited until they have abundance of resources for whatever life that they want. So that should always be your number one priority, is also building a life where you're not constrained in any way, where you have true freedom, because that's going to breed a lot of happiness. It's going to allow you to do the things that you want to do and be the man that you want to be. So if you don't have freedom, if you don't have resources, life is going to be really difficult. And the third area that you need to prioritize is going to be socially, the relationships that you have. So this is between your female relationships, the girls that you're seeing, and your male friendships, which is really important as well. A lot of guys underestimate how important it is to have masculine friends whose values are in alignment with yours, ideally with the categories we're talking about: health, wealth, girls. If they have those priorities as well, you're going to have really good friendships. And this is so important because we are social animals. We thrive off socializing. So if you don't have anything going on in your social life, there's kind of just a dullness to life. I've been there myself many times, and it kind of sucks. I mean, I don't think I have to tell you how much it sucks when you don't have girls in your life, or if you don't have friends to hang out with. It's really just a big... it's a thorn in your side. It's really what it is. Now, I don't want to dive into too much on the specifics of how to develop these areas, because that's pretty much what my entire channel is about, is teaching you how to be good socially, how to get girls, the importance of male friends, and what to look for. I have so many videos on that. So if you want, you can check those out for the specifics. But I want to emphasize now is the balance between the 3 categories, because you should be prioritizing all 3 categories all of the time. Now, there can be times when you focus more on one category to really drive results. So, for example, there's been times when I've really had to dial in my business and focus on that. And I had to kind of sacrifice a little bit in the other categories, not too much health and fitness, but more in terms of social life. And now there's been times when I've also prioritized socializing. Like when I went to Norway, I was drinking 3-4 times a week, going out in nightlife, going on drink dates with girls, and it didn't really, I was still in the gym every single day. I was trying to make up for it as much as I could, but it was a little bit of a detriment to my health, drinking that much, right? But I was socializing, and I was really social, and that gave me a lot of fulfillment, and it was a lot of fun. So you need to try and understand that there's got to be a balance between the 3 categories, but you need to be keeping the 3 categories in mind at all times. And I do want to tell you what life can look like when you do have all 3 categories dialed in. And the closest I've got to perfection has been this past summer. So for about 3 months, it was honestly the best time of my life. I had my business, this YouTube coaching business, making me about 6 to 10K per month, every single month. I had friends. So I know that sounds kind of fucked, but so I've had some good friends across the, many different countries, but it's usually been like one close friend. But now I had a bunch of friends. So I had friends who I was going to pre-games with, guys who I'd hang out with before I went to the club, guys who I would do sober things with. And I've really, over the years, developed a lot of valuable connections on the guy side of things and having masculine friends in Sweden. So I finally had that good setup. And then I also was having a lot of sex. So the last 2.5 months of being in Sweden, there wasn't a single weekend where I didn't get with a girl and I didn't have sex. So that was a lot of fun as well. So between socializing with those guys, going out in nightlife, meeting new people and socializing, seeing girls, talking to girls all the time, making money. I had plenty of freedom with my business. I wasn't a slave to the business. I would work for a couple hours a day, but it wasn't like I was locked in the office all day long. We had a record summer in Sweden for heat and just sunshine, so that was super awesome. And I was on the jet ski almost every day, going to the beach with my friends. It was honestly one of the best times of my life. But you got to understand that all three of the areas and the categories that we've discussed have been getting dialed in over the last 4 years to get me to the point where I've been able to live that life. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that you can get to this point where you do live a genuinely amazing life, but it can take some time. So I kind of even mentioned it with the friends. It was like, I didn't have friends for the longest time exploring Sweden. I came here years ago knowing absolutely no one, and it took a long time to really find my people. But over time, you end up finding your people, and you have your friends, and then they introduce you to new people, and it all kind of works out. But there's so many areas which you really need to go out there, and you need to prioritize developing. So if you don't have the friends that you want to have right now, you need to try to go actively seeking these sorts of people. If you don't have the hot girls that you want, you need to start figuring out how to get these hot girls. If you don't have the body of your dreams, which is absolutely 100% in your control, there's no outside circumstance, unless you have some health condition that's going to affect this, then you need to go prioritize that. And same thing with business. You need to figure out how you can make money financially free to live this good life. So these are all the things that are in your court. You just have to figure out how to attain them. And that's one of the pursuits of life. And I think it's one of the most fulfilling pursuits is when you are going after all three categories. You got a little bit from all the different areas, and it leads to a very fulfilling life as a man. And once again, everything starts with health. If you don't have health, you don't have anything. And building an attractive body is going to be one of the key ways to be healthy and also just improve your life as a man. And it's just going to be 10 times better when you're attractive and you've got a good aesthetic body. So that's why I made you the Aesthetic Body Transformation Guide. It's completely for free. It's the first link in the description below.